Intergalactic's going to be a massive flop. And earlier this week, people were talking about Neil Druckmann. And I guess he had like an interview or he did like a tell-all and people were doing their reactions. We're going to watch Smash JT's reaction to it. Shout outs to Smash. Please go check out the original video. It'll be linked in the description down below. Show him some love.
I've been working on this project at Naughty Dog for 4 years now. We just announced it. It's called Intergalactic.
By the way, Neil Druckmann, very divisive, polarizing figure. I don't think he's as good as he once was anymore. I think he's kind of went a little.
The Heretic Prophet. It's our venture into more sci-fi stuff.
Sony has recently published a video of Neil Druckmann interviewing with Alex Garland, discussing how their creator journeys have worked. And during the meeting, Neil Druckmann decided to start talking about Naughty Dog's upcoming game, Intergalactic, the Heretic Prophet.
Which, by the way, mass disliked. Lots of people criticizing the protagonist of this whole video game. I gave a few criticisms about it. I think it's going to be terrible, guys. I see this and I just cringe.
The game that a lot of gamers out there are looking at saying, yeah, it looks like a woke slop fest that I don't want anything to do with. Well,
woke
the
slop
stuff
fest.
that Neil Druckmann started talking about with it didn't seem to help with any of those fears. What's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of Smash JT. Neil Druckmann discussed Intergalactic, the Heretic Prophet, as a game that's going to focus heavily on religion.
Yeah. So apparently there's a lot of concern about this whole, I guess, focus on religion. There's rumors that it's going to be against Christianity to an extent. This sounds like crap.
And obviously there's a lot of the message involved with the game, at least from the trailer itself, combined with Naughty Dog's recent history of games. You put it all together and say, yeah, this game that's coming out from them seems pretty doomed for failure.
Yeah, it's going to be doomed. It's going to be doomed for sure.
Hit that subscribe, give me a like, and check out smashjt.com for the full article discussing the interview of Neil Druckmann and Intergalactic, the Heretic Prophet, and how this game looks to be even worse than many people thought.
And show Smash, as I'm stuttering my words, show Smash some love. Again, I have the video link down below. Subscribe to him if you haven't yet. And yeah, this game, as soon as I saw the trailer, I was like, yeah, I'm not buying it. Seems like everything they're doing, even the voice actress who's voicing the main character is a crazy lunatic activist. There's so many nails in the coffin already for this game.
But before we even go too far into the video, let me show you guys my favorite clip from this whole thing, because I feel like it sums everything up perfectly.
Here we go.
Who gives a shit?
Exactly.
So we
The timing on that was so perfect. Who gives a shit? Exactly.
finally have some information from the source themselves discussing Intergalactic, the Heretic Prophet, more than just, oh, space cowboy girl boss in space that is trying to save the future, and it's a different version of the 80s.
It takes place 2,000 years in an alternate future that deviates in the late 80s.
That's... why? As cool as that could potentially be, your alternate universe sucks.
Wow.
Dude, the reaction to that, wow. So delayed. Like, this guy doesn't give two shits.
And we spent like years just coming up with that timeline, and it's dealing with, it's funny, it's like, I joke about this with the team. It's like, oh, we made
Please don't say like what Dustborn did, where it's an alternate universe that 9/11 didn't happen or Trump wasn't elected. Please don't say that.
a game with The Last of Us 2. We made certain creative decisions that got us a lot of hate. A lot of people love it, but a lot of people
there was definitely a lot of hate for Last of Us 2.
Exactly.
No, apparently it's a lot deeper than that. And by deeper, I mean a new take on religion.
Yeah.
Where the timeline deviates, this new religion becomes pretty prominent. And then we spend years just building out this religion of like from the original prophet all the way how it gets.
So the whole concept and story and alternate timeline is based off of a brand new alternate religion. Oh, dear God. How can my expectations go even lower?
It's like change and sometimes bastardized and evolves over all these years. And then like all these people from this.
How many? You said 2,000 years?
2,000.
Coincidentally, 2,000 years.
Coincidentally, 2,000 years.
So, are the rumors of them changing Christianity legit? I haven't seen this. I only read briefly titles and stuff. I'm catching up as we're reacting to this, guys.
Naughty Dog's controversial top dog, Neil Druckmann, has finally pulled back the curtain on the studio's next big project, Intergalactic, the Heretic Prophet. And of course, to no one's surprise, it looks like another heavy-handed, narrative-driven game built to push thought-provoking woke themes rather than any kind of actual fun gameplay. Given the direction that Druckmann has been taking Naughty Dog in the recent years, it's not too surprising. And the Heretic Prophet, taking a stance focusing heavily on religion and faith in an alternate future, immediately raised plenty of red flags all around, suggesting to me that it will be yet another extremely divisive, bloated, and pretentious experience that ultimately will alienate core gamers. Would I like to be wrong about this? I don't know, actually.
That's hitting it on the head. It's going to definitely alienate people. It's going to alienate gamers that don't want. I mean, this is essentially going to be propaganda. Like it doesn't even sound fun. Like, the last thing that I think of when I play a sci-fi game is religion. And you know, I almost kind of want it to fail. I almost kind of want it to fucking fail. Like, I almost want them to just do it and fail.
I kind of want Naughty Dog to fail with the direction that Neil Druckmann's been taking things. It's the only way that Sony would learn a lesson that this is not the direction.
After Concord failed, I don't think Sony will learn any lesson. But yeah, I completely agree with Smash on this take.
Direction that gamers want things to go. But then again, if Neil Druckmann's able to learn lessons from the past of what people liked and didn't like, then sure, I'm open to it. But I wouldn't hold my breath.
Yeah.
And this whole religion takes place on this one planet, and then at one point, all communication stops from this planet.
Nice.
And you're playing a bounty hunter that's chasing her bounty, and she crash lands on this planet.
And despite all the negativity surrounding this game, even
so much potential could have been
because
done.
We've just had one overview trailer of it that barely touched on what the game actually entailed. The comment section is oddly curated to a lot of positive sentiment, at least currently, and it's got to make you wonder.
You know, this day and age, when you have bots and paid accounts and shills, it wouldn't put it past me that the people that are trying to praise it, because this game got mass disliked. These are all fake accounts, in my opinion.
Wonder if they might be doing some deleting of negativity.
Or yeah, they could be deleting.
To change the
Look at that, calling it out. Crazy number of deleted comments and replies. I mean, they definitely are probably scrubbing.
Perception of the ordinary every person going to the comment section for reinforcement of what this game is and trying to present it in a better way. But then looking at the dislikes on it and you're like, this doesn't match up. But
the dislikes are wild.
First things first, let's dive into the timeline deviating from reality and, honestly,
this should be great.
Sense. So here's the long and the short of it. The game's set to take place around the year 2000, but not in our timeline. Instead, it diverges from the 1980s when we see a new religion apparently emerging that reshapes civilization. This mysterious faith is centered on the planet Semperia, and it seems to be the core of the game's setting, yet details remain quite vague beyond the fact that no one has had contact with Semperia for over 600 years.
So that doesn't sound fun at all. that to me, I don't think that sounds fun at all. I think it sounds quite boring. Again, when I play video game, I don't think religion.
Players take on the role of Jordan, the shaved head protagonist, who crash lands on the isolated planet with no knowledge of what happened to its people.
At one point, all communication stops.
So she crash lands on the building that has had no contact with anybody for over 600 years. All right.
On this planet.
Nice.
And you're playing a bounty hunter that's chasing her bounty, and she crash lands on this planet. And it's, and I really wanted to make a game about faith and religion.
Why does he talk so weird?
It sounds
just being lonely. So many of the previous games we've done, there's always like an ally with you, and you're talking. I was like, I really want you to be lost in a place that you're really confused about what happened here. who are the people here? What was their history?
Which all this in theory sounds like there's real potential with it, but when you're obviously putting like DEI bullshit, like, you know, the character that you made, I don't hate female protagonists, let's get that right, but you can't tell me that that female protagonist you chose wasn't to be some kind of like DEI fucking agenda behind it. Look at the voice actress you have for them. The voice actress is an activist themselves. This has red flags and DEI written all over it.
And in order to get off this planet, like, again, no one has been heard from this planet for 600 years. So if you ever have hoped to have a chance to get off, you have to figure out what happened here.
And honestly, if we weren't living in the age of wokeness and seeing all these games injected with the message, it kind of sounds vaguely interesting. Like, I gotta be honest, be like, oh, that sounds...
There's potential there, but that also just sounds like Returnal to me. Returnal. Like, it almost sounds like what Returnal was. Or even a Metroid, I would dare say. It doesn't sound like enough to wow me. And then you have like this ugly character and story put on top of it. Nothing about it sounds exciting to me. The best thing about this game was the Pet Shop Boys song playing in the fucking trailer. It's a sin. That was like really the only thing that I was like, okay, that's cool. And the 80s vibe to an extent.
Sounds like a sci-fi adventure that I might be willing and interested to partake in. But then you see Neil Druckmann.
I'll probably check it out anyway.
Seems to be quite indoctrinated
when it goes on sale.
The message, and I can't help but think that this is going to be used as an avenue to push said message.
Yeah.
So many questions I could ask you, but I'm not going to because it would put you on the spot, I think.
You should ask.
Also,
I'll cut it if I say the wrong thing. It's fine.
The premise sounds to me like a sci-fi mystery, and it's clear Naughty Dog's main focus isn't on world building, but more so on creating a deeply personal experience.
Just that look right there, that image of the protagonist, just like that snarky girl boss, like I don't do good with sarcasm. Okay, especially when it's like a sarcastic female protagonist. It's so cringe.
Centered on isolation, reflection, and critical deconstruction of faith itself. Druckmann's description of the game should make it abundantly clear to anyone paying attention that the story they're working on is built entirely around faith and religion.
Yeah.
Two topics that he's never been very subtle about handling in his previous works. And pair that with Naughty Dog's track record, especially recently, it's easy to assume that Intergalactic, the Heretic Prophet, will try to be yet another attempt to challenge religious belief systems, and most likely painting them as dangerous, oppressive, or even outdated, while pushing a progressive narrative in their place.
That's a nail on the fucking head. Okay? These people want to change things into more of a progressive society. They want to get rid of things like traditional, I guess, Christianity and things like that. And that's exactly what they're going to push. I have no doubt that we're going to see them place a lot of red flags on players as far as the narrative goes, especially if it's focused on religion and faith. And I mean, it just, the thought of this just doesn't sound exciting to me. Am I going to check this game out? Yeah, sure. I still will.
Because, you know, the message, I mean, I'd love to be wrong about this, but past performance is typically a good indicator of future expectations.
I've gotten in trouble actually because if trying to protect the story, we've released a trailer for Last of Us 2 where we faked a shot and we showed Joel somewhere where he would never make it to because of things that happened in that story.
Oh wow, that's actually interesting. I didn't know they did that.
As a deliberate
way to throw off the scent. And people that didn't like the game accused that of being false advertisement.
I mean,
who gives a shit?
And with a name like the Heretic Prophet, it's not hard to guess where the...
Oh, the name, the Heretic Prophet, makes sense now. Dear God, that just... If they make this female protagonist like some messiah, oh dear God, that's gonna be cringe.
The story is going to be going. I'm going to expect a storyline where the religion is being demonized, the protagonist struggles with identity and belonging, shaves her head to be a rebel, and the game's message becomes more important than the gameplay itself. fact
I mean,
that the
that's also fucking fair too. Rebelling against the religion and shaving the head, and she's pulling the Britney Spears.
entire experience being presented here revolves around making players feel lonely and questioning the path that led them to where they are only reinforces the idea that this is yet another Druckmann-led introspective slog meant to make players feel miserable rather than entertained.
Yeah, why can't we just have fun? Why does everything have to be depressing and miserable and lonely and all this shit? That's not artsy. I mean, I guess it could be debatable, but let's have some fun. We're in space. Let's have wacky characters. Let's have fun adventures and stuff.
Again, could I be wrong? Of course, but looking at modern day Naughty Dog, I'm gonna bet on what's more likely.
Yeah, it'll be like Last of Us in space.
Here.
Yes, these things have to be sold, and the way they are sold, it seems, is by creating trailers that tell the entire story. I as an individual have a choice to not access those things, and so I try not to. And it's one of the benefits of not being on social media. Actually, is that I'm
How do you have a fucking show where you interview people on the internet and you're not on social media? That doesn't make sense to me.
immunized from so much conversation, so I will be able to arrive at this game knowing very little, but what you've described sounds fantastic.
Oh, thanks.
Nah.
It's so smart as well.
Appreciate it. Love the glazing.
Everything about
That's hilarious. Hypnotic cameo.
Intergalactic, the Heretic Prophet screams woke narrative-driven slop. Easy to guess from the teaser trailer they showcased a few months back. The game is focused entirely on questioning
See, I thought that combat part right there kind of looked cool, but yeah, the narrative is gonna fucking break this game.
religion and being set in an alternate history where faith goes wrong and being built to make players feel like they're lost and reflective rather than being entertained by playing a video game.
Entertained.
Yeah, it's so we still have a ways to go, but I'm
Sure.
kind of very excited to see. And it's like,
He says he's very excited, but he seems like so nonchalant in this interview. Like he seems like he really doesn't care. And if he doesn't care, I don't care. And you guys shouldn't care.
again, these things are so complex and big, and there's so many people involved. It's like I still don't know exactly what this thing is going to look like at the end. It's like,
Wow. He still doesn't even know how this thing's going to look like at the end. How long until this game comes out?
I have a theory, I have an idea, but it's still evolving and changing as we're making it.
Right off the bat, I'm looking at this being the female lead protagonist, shaving her head, being the hardcore girl boss that she is, and pairing that with how it looks like the prototypical woke female in the modern era.
Absolutely. Bald head. All she's missing, honestly, is the nose ring and the prison tats.
Paired with Naughty Dog and Neil Druckmann in the direction of what they did with Last of Us Part 2.
Yep.
It's not hard to imagine that
We better not be seeing somebody get railed like Abby got railed in Last of Us 2.
this game is going to follow closely in the footsteps of that. Which, don't worry, I'm sure it's going to be praised by all those woke journalists out there and all those
Every single activist that's a journalist will be praising it. 9s and 10s.
Twitter activist bots that just want to praise this game every chance they get, but in reality will be wholeheartedly rejected by gamers, the people with wallets purchasing said game. At this point, Naughty Dog doesn't even seem to be trying to hide their agenda. They've abandoned the fun, adventurous spirit that wants to find them and have fully embraced being a platform for ideological storytelling. If Intergalactic, the Heretic Prophet is the next big project, then it's safe to say that Naughty Dog's decline is far from over. But this isn't even the most troubling aspect of the entire interview, because after I watched it, I was like, oh, let me take a look in the comment section to see what people are saying with the feedback.
They're
Because
glazing him.
There's a good amount of dislike with the ratio with this game. There's probably a handful of comments that aren't liking it. And I scroll through them and I'm like, no. I mean, maybe I found one or two that was critical of it, but the rest of them just felt very generic.
These can't be real people. Like, I'm not trying to be a hater, but these can't be real people.
Automated and bot-like, trying to prop this game up. And I'm like, who are these people talking to? These are very suspicious comments
they can't be
that are
real.
made in the comment section. And it doesn't align with the amount of dislikes that you see on the video itself.
And then go check out the actual trailer for Intergalactic and tell me that there's people that are actually looking forward to this game.
There are a lot of dislikes, and this kind of artificial engagement reeks of some strong desperation. It wouldn't be the first time a major studio or publisher tried to manufacture positivity when faced with overwhelming backlash, but holy crap, does this feel pretty over the top obvious.
Oh, it's
if this game were truly as exciting as Naughty Dog wanted people to believe, they wouldn't need to curate the conversation the way they seem
100%,
to be. But we all know better at this point, and they aren't a big fan of us thinking for ourselves.
Yeah, they fucking hate that when we think for ourselves. That's why they call people like me and Smash and so forth grifters.
We want engaging worlds, compelling gameplay, and stories that don't beat us over the head with some sort of ideological message. If this is the game that Naughty Dog is banking on, they might be in for a rude awakening when this so-called thought-provoking experience bombs harder than the spaceship crash landing on Simperia. But time will certainly tell, and I am extremely curious to see.
I have very low expectations for this game, if I'm being completely honest. Extremely low expectations for this game.
What happens with this title in particular? Yeah. I'm gonna leave it there. If you guys
yeah, guys, man, that whole Neil Druckmann talking about religion and all this crap, it just sounds like it's a recipe for disaster. Let me know your guys' thoughts in the comments down below. Go show Smash some love on the original video, and I'll see you on the next one. Thank you so much for watching.